G'day, Mr. Fitz here, hope you're going well. This short tutorial video is going to show you how to model up your frame in Autodesk Fusion. This is a sample similar to one that I've built in class, and this video is going to show you how to model this whole thing in Fusion. Start with creating a new file, new design. First thing we should do when you create a new design is you should save this. So this puts it up on the cloud. I would encourage you to create a project called 10 materials, or you can just put it into your admin project and call this one sign and save. Once it's saved, it should auto save as you go so you don't lose your work. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start a sketch the same as way we create every CAD file. It doesn't matter which plane you choose to sketch on. I'm going to choose this bottom plane here. You'll notice the view changes so you're looking straight down on it. Now, depending on your design, there's a whole range of different shapes you can use to build your frame. Mine's a rectangular shape. Yours could be a polygon. So we've got anything from a three-sided polygon, a triangle, to however many you want to create. You could have a circular design, you name it. They're all different shapes in here. Mine's going to be a rectangle, and I'd encourage you to use a center point rectangle. The reason for this is that it keeps our model centered. So if I click in the center and drag out, I'm going to just draw a rough size of my frame. Press escape to get out of that tool. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension this. So this is going to be the outside of my frame. Mine is a 600. So using the dimension tool, click on the line. For example, this vertical one, click once, move your mouse out, click again to place it, and then key in the value. So mine's going to be 600 by 400. The next little clever tool I'm going to use is to do my frame, I'm going to use this offset tool. What this does is it allows me to click my outside frame, and then I can offset and drag this in to create the actual frame itself. Now, minus ensures it goes into that direction. So mine's going to be 25 mil by 25 mil, and go OK to that. There we go. You can see there that's sketched and modeled the outside part of my frame. The next step in my sketch is to finish, and then I'm going to extrude. Extrude is going to push this into 3D. I now need to click on the region I'm going to extrude, and I can drag this up, and I'm going to make this 25 mil. Cool. Nice simple way to build a frame, and it should be using the correct sizes of square hollow section we've got available. Alright, next step, I'm going to model in my little metal tabs in the corner. So because this is symmetrical, I'm going to have do a few little tricks here. So start with a sketch. Now I'm going to sketch on the back. So if I turn my model over, you can do that by clicking on this icon here and choosing the back face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch in the corners here. Always sketch just rough to start with. So clicking so it lands on these edges. There we go. So make sure that you've got that closed up. I'm back at the start now. I'm going to press escape to get out of my line tool. And you should see there I've kind of got a enclosed region. Now this still needs some dimensions in there. So using the dimension tool, I'm going to click on this line first, then this line to give me the distance between the two lines. This is going to use 25mm flat steel. Press escape to get out of that one. You can now see that I need a few more dimensions on here. What I might do is put in an angle. If I click on dimension, I'm going to choose this line and then say this edge. Let's make this angle 45 degrees. And there's one more dimension I might need. You can see it's still blue. Click on that edge and then that point. Let's make that 75 mil to there. Beautiful. That's going to be my little metal tab I'm going to weld. Now to make life easier here, let's just go with that. So finish my sketch. Now I'm going to extrude this here, and I'm now going to spin my model around because I'm going to extrude it back up this way, and it's going to go -3. Just check that it's on join. It's going to be joined. I'm going to weld it and go OK. There we go. There's one little tab. Now what I might do next is I'm going to sketch. I'm going to cut a hole in here. Now let's just do a circle here. So sketch there. I'm going to put a little circle in for a hole. Just draw it rough somewhere on there. Dimension it. This is going to be let's make it a 6 mil hole. Should be fine. Now that's got a dimension on it. It doesn't have a location at the moment, so I'm going to draw a line, and I might pick up the center line of this. If I scroll down, I'm going to find, there we go, that little triangle means the center line of there. And this line's going to go to the center of my circle. Press escape to get out of that. You'll now see that line follows it round. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to make that line perpendicular, which means 90 degrees. So you click on that line first, then this line here. That makes that line perpendicular. And you can see that now moves in the center. One more thing to do, I'm going to draw a line from the center. So L is a shortcut, or there's a line from that circle center to there. So I've got 2 lines there now. One quick little trick, if I press on the line and press X, it converts that line to a construction line. And you can see this now moves up and down in the center. One last little trick here, if I use the equal tool, I'm going to say that that line and that line are equal, and that centers my hole. Finish my sketch. Then I'm going to extrude, select the hole, the circle. Now if I drag that back through my part, you can see that by default it's going to cut it. Doesn't matter how far you go as long as it cuts through, and go OK. Beautiful. One last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a chamfer on this back edge. Let's just make this one, pick a number, 5, too much, oops, 5 meters, 5 millimeters, still too much, let's go 3, there we go, 3 should be enough. That's just going to put a countersink on there, go OK. Excellent. Okay, next step, let's just save this quickly. Next thing I'm going to do is, because my part's symmetrical and because I use the center rectangle, I can mirror this design over now. So I'm going to go and find my mirror tool under create. I'm going to go mirror, change the mirror type to features, then choose the objects you want to mirror. So I can go to my feature tree here, and I know I'm going to mirror this feature, which is the extrude, plus the hole, plus the chamfer. Then choose the mirror plane. And I'm going to choose that one, and you'll see it'll mirror that over there. There we go. Duplicated that. Now I'm going to do that again. Mirror. Choose those same features. So this one, this one, this one, plus the mirror that I've just created. Choose my mirror plane is going to be that one, and there we go. There is my frame. Excellent. Save this one. Okay, next step, I'm going to put my timber inside it. So again, create a sketch. This time I'm going to sketch on this face here. So this is going to be like the back face of where my timber is going to be. And I'm going to use a center rectangle again, starting from the middle and drawing it out here. Now I probably want a small gap. So if I use the dimension tool, probably going to measure between here and... won't let me choose that edge. From here to here, let's just make that 1 millimeter and do the same on the top 1 millimeter gap, just so it's not touching it and it's clear of it. Probably could go 2 actually. 2, finish. Great, now I'm going to extrude that. So this is a bit tricky here. I'm going to have to choose all of these because it overlaps. So make sure you've got the whole rectangle selected and you're going to extrude up. Now, typical thickness of your timber is going to probably be about 16 millimeters. Is a reasonable one there. Now just double check here when you go to extrude this. I don't want to join this to the other body because it's going to be separate. So I'm going to go new body here and go OK. Oh, for some reason it has missed a little hole. Just make sure I choose that hole as well. Beautiful, that's my timber insert. You'll notice over here when you build that, I've got 2 bodies now. So I've got the frame, That's the frame, and if I turn these on and off, I've got my timber. Great. Alright, quickly save this. Next step, we can start adding in some colors and textures on here. If you press A on your keyboard or go modify appearance, you can start to pick up a whole range of colors and textures. Where is it gone? Here we go. So by default, there's a whole range of different colors and materials in here. Generally, if you want to make something black, I go to paint, powder coat, rough or smooth, depending on the color you want. This one here, if it doesn't come up normally, you've got to press that one there to download it, and this is a matter of grabbing and dragging onto it. There we go. So it's made my frame black. The other material I'm going to use for this board is going to be wood. You can pick your type of material here. I'm just going to make this pine. Download this one quickly. Once it's downloaded, I can drag and drop that onto there. There we go. It looks a little bit rustic with the pine. You can play around with different textures and things and make it look cool. And that's the appearances. Alright, if you want this thing to look as if there's like boards inside it, what you're going to have to do is do a sketch, and then likely just going to have to create some little rectangular cutouts. So I reckon if you make these about 2 millimeters, and then you probably need to dimension it from here, make that 65. If you extrude that little pocket there, so choosing that, I'm going to go -2. You'll notice it starts to break up that timber so it looks like it's in panels. There is a clever way. Once you've got one of these, you can create a pattern, rectangular pattern. I'm going to change this to features, grab that little one there, grab an axis or an edge, and then make sure you select this to spacing and make these 65 plus 2, 67 mil. Change the direction of it. Go the other way. -67. There you go. 3, 4. Roughly there. You can play around with the spacing so it looks uniform. There's a bit of a gap there, but anyway, that sort of shows you the panels there. Very last step on this is to then start to look at modeling up or designing your metal insert. So mine's going to have some text. So what I'm going to do for mine is just sketch on this face. Now, if I use the text tool, this takes a bit of playing around with. Draw a big frame there. Build 11 is the design I'm going for. You've got all the world of different fonts in here, so play with that. 60 millimeters, you can play around with the size. Let's say this was my design here, quite simple. Drag it to the middle, and for most fonts, but not all fonts, you should be able to extrude them as a solid. So if I hit my text there, I can drag that up. This is going to be 3 mil, and just remember to make sure it's a new body. Go OK. There we go, there's my text on there. Cool. That's the basics there. You guys are going to obviously make yours